Today, we're thrilled to have Rodrigo from Comeketo Restaurant, a true hero in the restaurant industry, bringing back real Brazilian churrasco experience right here in Leominster, Massachusetts. Rodrigo takes us on a journey from a roller to a restaurant owner, sharing tales of resilience, team building, and heartwarming accomplishments. Join us as we dive into the challenges and triumphs of the restaurant world, exploring the significance of creating a family-like culture for both employees and guests, the joy of helping others and giving back, and the secrets to staying focused in the face of unpredictability. Stay tuned for an inspiring conversation on life's journey, hard work, and the continuous pursuit of growth. Rodrigo's energy and determination are contagious. Get ready for a boost of positivity and motivation. Anyway, we are back. So I would like to know, coming from Brazil, establishing the successful venue, it's a delicious Brazilian churrasco. Yeah, churrasco meat, fresh off the grill, delicious salad bars. I've eaten at a restaurant before. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Great drinks, great food, great atmosphere. So let me just ask you, why restaurant? Why Leominster? Why Comeketo?
Well, I mean, my journey, at restaurants, started right from the get-go when I came here. And, my cousin and his friends worked at this restaurant in Natick called Vini Testas. I don't know if you remember. Then it changed to Vini Tisa Boston. But it was a great Italian restaurant at the time. And there was a lot of my, friends who worked there. And, it was just appealing to me. But at the time, I was just learning English and all that. And I always like to, talk to people. So, that really helped me to, get me to fast track my learning to be more fluent in English and all that. And I started in the restaurant industry. There was actually a funny story there. I basically kind of made myself into the restaurant that I wanted to work by applying multiple times, like every day. I used to go there and pick up my cousin. I used to drive his car around and I would fill out an application. I would go in and I'll fill out an application. One day, like the general manager said, you cost me more money in application. I'm just going to hire you. So
I love it. That consistency and persistence. I like that. I noted that. Okay.
And then I have something to say about that. Since you use the word persistency.
Yeah.
They say beats resistance. So that's something that I have in mind. I'm a very persistent person. I'm very resilient. Have you ever seen, like, when you go to the beach, like the ocean, and there's some rocks? And
yeah.
Eating the rocks?
Yeah.
The rock is caved in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the persistence of the water.
Right. So you slowly but surely, you're caving your way into what you want, but you're not pushing, but you slowly and gently, right? I love that. That's a great tip.
So they basically made out a position for me. I was a roller. I was the guy making roll-ups. You remember how tedious it is to...
Yeah, we used to work together. Just for the audience, we actually used to work together in the restaurant. That's how we met. So
yeah,
that explains it. Yeah, roller. Love it.
So I was doing, I was sitting in the corner of the room making roll-ups all night from like 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the way to like 11 o'clock at night, So that's kind of like I started, and I was like, dealing with people, working with people, talking with people. So I guess primarily that was why. And, being in the restaurant industry, I wanted to kind of like, climb up the restaurant ladder.
Step it up. Yeah.
I became a bus boy. Then an opportunity came up to be a food runner, and then I became a server when my English got better. I did a little bartending and everything, and from there, after working at that restaurant and a couple other restaurants, I was presented an opportunity to take over an existing place in Leominster, existing restaurant in Leominster. And Kamekino, the place was already a restaurant, so we just took over and changed the name to Kamekino. And that was a small shop. We were there for about 5 years, and then we moved into the location that I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So,
You do make it sound like very, very simple. Like, I was a busboy, I was a roller, then I got an opportunity, I bought a restaurant. So can you walk me through what was your mindset when you realized, you know what, I actually want to do more? So that transition from being a waiter at a restaurant where you decided to look for opportunities to continue to grow. Like, what was that like for you? And what was the pivotal point that you were like, you know what, the restaurant is it, I'm ready?
well, when I was working as a waiter and everything, I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it doing that, But I never worked in the back of the house. At some point in my life, I did a little bit of catering for another company. And I did some, cooking, some back of the house things. I really identified myself with that. And I was good at it. Like, I made good money, and I love the fact that, restaurant is a performance-based job. Like, you can make a lot of money waiting tables. You can make good money. You make, depending on the restaurant you work in, the city you're working, you could make a six-figure, it could be a six-figure job. I know a few people who make six figures, waiting tables, 5 days a week.
It helped me to buy my first property when I was working in restaurants. I just saved, and I had enough to put the down payment. So I exactly agree.
Exactly. So, there was the fact that I liked that, segment. I didn't make money, and I was good at it. So, it's like, well, one day, if I own a restaurant, I could only do better, which wasn't necessarily true, in the beginning. Obviously, like running your own restaurant, running your own business, well, it's not an easy task, especially when you're dealing with restaurant. Restaurants are a whole different beast from any other business that I know. Honestly, like restaurant, you gotta have a thick skin. You have to be persistent. You have to like it, because it just doesn't make any sense if you don't like it.
Right.
It's very gratifying for me, especially because I'm doing something that's from my culture. And when people come to me and they say, oh my God, I love this food. I never had Brazilian food. I'm so glad that I found you. I found your spot. Oh, my kids loved it. My wife loved it. Can't wait to come back. So these are things so gratifying that makes you want, keep going. Even though you're having so many adversities, it keeps you going. It's the fuel that keeps you going.
Yeah, and I'd like to hone in on the challenges of running a restaurant. But before we move to that, I really want to hear a little bit more. As you mentioned, you build up your experience. You did, roll-ups, then you became a waiter. You knew the bar, you became bartender. So you had a little bit of experience there. But as you said, the kitchen part, like how did you know the recipes, how to cook things? Like what was your background there?
Yeah, like I said, that's actually another funny story, because I started that restaurant not really ever working behind, the house, the back of the house, right? It was really a situation where learning as I went, flying the airplane, build an airplane while you're flying, literally.
Amazing. Wow.
Well, I tell you that when I first menu that I made, I put things on a menu that I had never made. I didn't know how to make. I just thought it was cool to have that one item on the menu, for example. And, and it's just it was just a crazy thing. Like I was so unprepared. Like Yeah, I was unprepared. I didn't have the training. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the money. It was basically when I started, it was me and a partner that actually, things didn't work out. So he walked out, in the very actually first day he walked
Oh,
out.
oh my.
Yeah.
Add that to the mix of challenges, but he couldn't take it. He didn't maybe have that resilience and the mindset of, you know what? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Mhm. So basically, I did a lot of things on a whim, but luckily I had the grit and I had the good mentality, because everything I was doing was a recipe for failure, you know? So yeah, so everything I was doing was actually like a recipe for failure. But I believe because that I was believing myself so much, and I kept on, doing it. I did something wrong and I fixed it. Doing something wrong and I fixed it. Adjusting. Eventually you get it right. You swing that bat so many times. Sooner or later, you're gonna hit a home run. You're gonna hit the ball. You're gonna move from first base to second base, third base, whatever. Right?
Love it. Yeah. So tell me more about the actual menu. So how did you come up with the menu without knowing, I obviously you knew your cuisine, you knew what you like, but how did you know how to make those things?
Yeah, some of the things I knew how to make it, some I didn't, and some I would like literally have it on the menu just to look pretty, and somebody would like, try to order, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, please don't order this, please don't order this, please don't order this one item. And one time they ordered a certain item, chicken stroganoff, and basically I was like, crap, I don't know how to make that. Nobody ever ordered.
Oh my.
Right? And then I phoned my mother, and she'll teach me, how to do that, while I was doing it. Yeah, that was a funny story, and it came out good, I guess. That person liked it. Yeah, so that was a funny thing, trying your best and you know what I mean, and finding a way to pull it off.
Yeah, but what's interesting to me is there's people that there's many ways to get to where you want, right? You can work with mentors. They can help you with, walking through their experiences, avoid the mistakes. But you actually chose a path not the most common, but you decided to try it on your own, right? Without having a lot of support. And you learned, like you mentioned, you were learning from it, you were adjusting, you were pivoting. And at the end, look what you have. You have an amazing restaurant. I've seen the great reviews on the Google that you guys have. What about the staff? I know a lot of entrepreneurs say that it's really hard to find help right now. How is it for you? What about your team? Can you talk about the mindset, or how did you create your team, and how do you keep it going? How do you motivate them? How do you empower them to continue to build your dream restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, it's this team. Our team's actually, I do have a really good team. We did have some difficult couple years ago, especially during COVID. But right now, thank God, my team is pretty solid. Obviously, you always gonna have like 60% that's like you retain and they're good, and 40% kind of like rotate a little bit. But like for the most part, we actually doing pretty good. I have people who care about the business, people who really, they wear the jersey, Kamekino jersey, and become part of the Kamekino family. I know it's cheesy to say, we are family, but we really are. And one of the hardest things for me to do, I think, with any business, is to create a good culture that people want to be a part of. I think that's the number one thing in business. And as a matter of fact, like any business, like creating a good culture, in the work environment. If you were able to do that, I think everything else falls into place consequently. And the hardest thing is not the hours, the long hours, the marketing, finding a good recipe, the high quality product, like it's not that. The hardest thing is, how do you create a good culture?
I'm back to
notice, you know what I mean? People who just come into your, team, they can sense it. I just hired a guy, and he was telling me last night, dude, ever since I started working here, like I feel really good about myself. I feel so much better. Everything's going, better. I love being here. Like you have a good team and things like that. So that makes me happy. Because don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a working in progress always, Well, I think that's what really makes business not go in the direction they want, because of the culture. I think the culture has to have a good culture. First off, with the structure, the foundation of any business.
Yeah. I really love how there were two elements of business that when you went into restaurant business, you had to learn, which is creating a culture and also learning the back end of things, right? The cooking elements and whatnot. I remember, and speaking about the culture, I remember there was a post on Facebook where you brought your workers' family from Brazil.
No, these are from Uruguay.
Okay. Can you tell me more about that? What was that about? Because that's really big. I don't know any Aussies that do that.
That's a great recall you have there. That's really good that you brought that up. This person that has been with me for 12 years now, 13 years coming up. Her name is BB. I always tell this story whenever I can, because I think it's a really cool story. And she hasn't been able to see her parents for, I don't know, at the time, 14 years or something like that, maybe 15 years.
Long time.
And I knew her brother that lived in Uruguay, and he lived in Europe as well. He came here to visit a couple of times. So one time, I really felt in my heart to do some, try to make that connection for her. And I obviously knew, her friends over here in the United States that knew her family in Uruguay. So with the help of a few people, we are able to orchestrate, after a month, after a year planning, to bring her parents.
Oh,
and so basically I had her take a vacation at a certain time, and arrange the parents to come at the same certain time. And then I had to ask her to come during her vacation time to do something for us, because we were going
to trick her. Yeah. Wow.
These critics, coming from Boston to rate our food, and I had these, these people that supposedly, right? I know. They gotta come from this newspaper, to write an article on us.
Yeah. Story believable. Yeah.
So I went to pick up them at the airport, brought them to the restaurant, set them at the table. Put scarf on them, put a hat, glasses, and all that. And that was summertime. And then, I set them at the table, and, I had her, come out and bring the dishes. And, when she gets close, she realized that, wait a minute, I know these people. And, yeah. So her parents were sitting there waiting for the food, and it was a beautiful moment that,
What a miracle. And, that's really, and she's still with you, I suppose.
Yeah.
Still working for you, right? So I bet this probably was the biggest highlight of her life in the way you did it.
I'll say that's one of the biggest accomplishments in my life, too. A lot of times we think that when we buy the big house, that's going to be a big highlight, big accomplishment. That's going on like when we get the nice car, but it's really when we do something for somebody else, So that was by far the biggest accomplishment in my life.
So how would you, I really want to spotlight that point a little bit and dance with it. So it sounds like, would you say that you were in a restaurant business or in a business of investing in people?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you said you just hit the nail on the head. I was just talking with somebody not too long ago, and and I said, we think we are in the food business. We are in the people business, People business. Yes, we are in the people business. We are in the business of developing people, the people who are with us. There's so many cool stories of people who started working with us. They're shy. They're like, they couldn't really get in front of people and talk. Excuse me. After a couple, months and, years, they really develop. They extrovert. They more fluent, in their words and actions. And I'm not talking about language, I'm talking about, in your
personal skill.
Yeah, like bring out their personality more, and I always say everybody should work in the restaurant industry. I don't care if you're a doctor, I don't care if you're a lawyer, I don't care if you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you need to know how to sell, you need to know how to walk into a situation, turn a bad situation into a good situation. You need to know how to read people, you need to know, basically, with this person, these people here, I can be bubbly and super high energy. And then these other people here, I need to be a little more mellow, a little more soft. You know what I mean? Like the restaurant industry, it teaches you all these things, encompasses a lot of good qualities that I don't think other industries can really say. You learn a lot about hard work, work ethic, because you're working on your feet. You're doing this now, you do that after. You learn how to prioritize things. How to be up to speed. Sense of urgency. Boom, 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 boom. Right? I honestly can't think of another industry that can really give you so much, of teaching, learnings, as the restaurant industry. Honestly, if you got a kid that's 17-year-old and put them to work in a restaurant, this same person at 21, 22, 23, it's years ahead of so many other kids that wasn't exposed to the restaurant industry, for sure.
That's a great point, Rodrigo. I think working in a restaurant with you and after our time together, it definitely taught me a lot of life skills. One of them just, being resilient, as you mentioned, right? In so many different ways, right? Because, you could have a bad day, you can have a good day, but learning how to not get affected by it. Because you can have bad customers, you can have customers that tip you like 0 and 100. I had that before, and it's really upsetting. But how do you not let this ruin your day? So what tips do you have for our listeners when it comes to, obviously your days are unpredictable. I know we had to start a little late today because there's something that came up, but what's your mindset when you wake up in the morning, and how do you prepare yourself for the day to come to stay in your lane and that thick skin that you mentioned? How do you not get distracted by everything that's going on, predictable or unpredictable?
To be very honest with you, it's not like I have a routine, like every day. I wish I had more of a routine, and I try to build that. A lot of people say, in order to be successful, you gotta have a routine, da-da-da. I think it's different for everybody, right? But, I'm not saying that having a routine is bad or good. One thing I do for sure, I always feed myself, my mind with things that are going to contribute for my day. You know, like I have here, I'm not a big reader, but this is in Portuguese. He basically says coffee with the God, you know, é com Deus Pai. Basically, you know, every morning he has like a message, you know, I'm out, you know, cause I don't like reading. I do read this cause it's like, one page every day. So
That's not short.
but I'm always watching a YouTube video or audio book or something. We as human beings, we need to be reminded of the things that we want. You know, I usually say if people don't call your name, like if people didn't call your name every day, you probably would forget your name. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like we need to be reminded of what we are, who we are, where we want to go. Like you said, life is busy, and you know there's so many noises and
Distractions. Yes.
you know, like you really need to be focused, you know, about the things that you really, you know, want
to attract. Yeah.
And that's that's basically with doing that for so long, you build a shield that you know, it's hard to penetrate. You know, like I'm not gonna say that you're not affected by things, you know, but you're more resilient, you know, like not to be affected by some things that, you know, that the negative things that will come, the unexpected things that will come your way, you know.
Right. And I know you mentioned for people to be successful. So do you consider yourself successful in what you do?
I do, but I want to believe that I have more. I know that I have more to achieve, and that, you know, bothers me sometimes because I know that I haven't maximized the potential that I have and what God has in store for me. I, you know, constantly try to be, you know, that's another thing I have. How can I be 0.5% better every day?
I love it.
Better every day, because being 0.5% better, it's not hard. You know, if you think about it, how can it be a better person, a better, you know, leader, a better husband, a better friend, a better whatever, you know, better person in my community? You know, how can I be a better 0.5% better? You know, all these things. And, you know, as time goes by, it compounds. You know, maybe in a month you don't notice anything, in a quarter you don't notice something, but in a semester, in a year, you're like, wow, you know, this concept is really causing a good effect on me. You know, it compounds.
Yeah, small steps.
Exactly. So, you know, that's another way that that's another way how I think.
What's your routine or what's your mindset? But I think what you said about always being, there's always an opportunity to better yourself, and you always think about how can you. And it takes awareness for someone to really think about or even question themselves. What can I do to get better? That takes a lot. And it's great that you are aware and awake on the level where you always want to improve yourself, and always being not happy with where you are, because that kind of lights a little bit of a fire for you to do more and to search and to seek and educate yourself on how can you. So what is your not for nothing, I really want to ask you the final question of our interview. More so, what is your definition of success? Because I think what you've created for yourself, coming from a different country, for me personally, from a spectator's seat, I think you overachieved what I would expect someone not being born in America to achieve. I know you have higher goals for yourself, which is great. That motivates you to do more. But when it comes to your definition of success, what is it for you currently? And I know it changes as the time goes by, but what is it for you right now? What is your definition of success right now?
I think success is really different for everybody. I think, again, successful is really getting where you like to be, where you dream, where you're, I guess, comfortable, you know, like they have a finish line, you know, like I honestly don't think you really have a finish line. But success, I think, is where you want it to be without complaining. I think that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
Where you want to be without complaining, because a lot of people, they may have $1 million, but they are complaining that they don't have hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars.
Okay.
So if you haven't gotten to tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of million dollars, and success is not translated to me in dollars, in a dollar amount either, because a lot of us will think success means dollars, like a monetary value. And success could be a mother that works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and she has time to take care of the kids and go to the soccer game, go to this, go to that, and that's success for that person, for that family, and that's good. That's good. Another one thing that I have really clear in my mind, and the reason why I do what I do is that I want to make sure I get to heaven, and God opens up the project of my life, like an architect.
The book, yeah.
They have their drawing, right? Sketch, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they say, I don't want God to say, Rodrigo, look what I had for you here, man. Like, remember when you got to that point over here, you turn your back, you're gonna keep going. After this door, I had this other thing here that planned out for you. You missed that, man. You see that other point over here, like, remember when this and that happened, that person, told you off or pissed you off, offended you, you got mad and you stopped moving forward. I had this other thing here that, that you're seeking for that, and I have these other, you know what I mean? Like, I really want to make sure he puts that map in front of me, that project in front of me, that drawing, like, wow, Rodrigo, man, good work, man. You achieved check. You achieved like 85%, 90% of everything I had for you. That's pretty good. And I'll be happy, So that's kind of like how I look. If I'm complaining about it, like, I should be doing something about it.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it all comes down to taking action, right? Because opportunities come and go. But if you just, if you're trying to get motivated to do something, you listen to podcasts and do nothing about it, and you keep on complaining, guess what? You're still at that point A. You didn't move too far. But it sounds like you have no problem taking action and making changes and turning the world upside down, because you feel like that's what Rodrigo needs to do right now, right? That's your calling.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm coming to the realization as well right now, like, I don't want, you always listen to people say, you got to keep hard, going, da-da-da. And that's fine. I agree with that. And I do that. But right now, like, I also I'm trying to create some other moments in my life as well, that will contribute to my success, I guess. Like, I used to feel guilty about resting, for example. And
that's a good one, yeah.
But you don't get me wrong. There are certain moments in life that you can't have any rest for some time, and that's okay. Especially when you're younger age, that you can beat yourself up. Your body takes it, the beating. That's not really a time to be resting. Like that time is to hustle. And again, people should know what best, what they want for them, but I'm just trying to speak from the angle of somebody who wants to achieve more, who wants to go far. You will have more moments where you're tired and you need to keep going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I'm also trying to explain and show, like, how somebody who has done a lot of that can also get to a point where they should think about other moments in their lives that it's going to be meaningful, in another way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're alluding to the fact that there should always be a balance, right? Like, working hard is great, but it's not all about working hard. Sometimes you really need to, maybe go out on the nature, take a vacation, whatever it is. I know you're planning some time off for yourself, which is great. So there has to be, as you get older, you realize that there needs to be a better balance between working hard and taking a break, right? Mentally, physically. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's great. And, I really, really appreciate, you taking us through the journey today of getting started, starting your business, working really hard for what you have right now. But also, the most importantly, is that you're investing into the people that surround you, creating the culture that people want to be part of. And I really like how you said that Comeketo family, because that's a concept that a framework that you created for, no, I think it's actually more of it's something that, well, it is a family. It's a family that you created that people want to be part of, and you're creating that spirit of, togetherness. You motivating folks to be part of it, and there are benefits of being part of that circle of trust, which is, a lot of business owners do forget that it's really important to invest into your people. It's not about the money. The money will come, but you have to have people that are going to get you there, and you totally onto something with that. And I really like how you have bigger and better things. You're not stopping at what you have achieved. You really want to continue to do more, but also you also continue to better yourself every day, which is really important, right? So I think that's been a lot of great insights for the audience that they can actually take into the action starting today, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. It's a journey. Life is a journey, and like I said, I honestly believe there was no finish line, and I think you should want to improve yourself every day, regardless if you're a business person or not, if you're an athlete or not, like if you're just, stay home mom, you should.
Well, why do you think that's important? Why do you think that's important to improve yourself?
Because we are meant to make progress. We're not meant to make progress as human beings, we would be born and be a baby forever. Development automatically happens with us. Like you grow, like you're a baby, your body, you become smarter, like by default.
Yeah.
By default, these things happen. If these happen, it means that, not your outside should be growing and developing. Your inside should be right.
Yeah.
That tells us something. I actually never thought about that. It's the first time I'm saying this,
Mm-hmm.
And if he is like somebody that's older, you're constantly learning, And another thing that I strongly believe, even though as you get older, you kind of start having some limits, physical limits and everything, which is normal. But I also see a ton of 70-year-old, 80-year-old doing triathlon, the nation here, but like I do Ironman races, right? It's so inspiring. Mm-hmm. And it really cruises in my mind. I see people that are like almost double my age that can do what I can do, and some of them do better.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them finish, first, like faster than I do. Right? So it just makes me like, well, I want to be like that guy. You know what I mean? So
I think you actually brought up two great points, which we can actually wrap our interview on, which is one being having a growth mindset, that what I have is not enough and I can continue to evolve. And the other point was being surrounded by people that do more than you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
this is that's a mind change. This is a game change thing. Surrounding yourself with people that are better than you, at a minimum, people who are like you at least. You know what I mean? Or people who want to be better. Because sometimes we always say, you need to surround yourself with people who are better than you. Yes, that's right. But like sometimes, think about it. people who are in the works of being better, if everybody thinks like that, they're going to be left out, right? They're not going to have anybody to walk.
Right. Well, yeah.
So I think it's bad or maybe selfish to say that. Yes, we don't look for somebody that's better, but like if I find somebody that wants to be where I want to be and they have the drive, they want
the motivation, yeah.
Oh, accountability, me and you here, we're not there. Okay, and together we're gonna look for somebody that we can role model as well. That's, you know what I mean? So I'll say, look for somebody that's better than you, or somebody who are at your level, or somebody who wants to be where you want to be. They have that thirst, they have that, hunger,
Like-minded people, right? Because we can cross-pollinate, we can charge off each other. And I feel like you and I, even though, we don't see each other that often, but I feel like we both cheer each other up every time I see success, whether you launched a new dish at your restaurant or you've expanded to, home deliveries, whatever it is. I always make sure I comment, I like your content, because it's important for me that you grow. And the reason why I wanted to have you on my podcast is because you have that stamina, that mentality of like, I want to learn something new. I want to challenge myself to do better, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to find a way. That's something about you that I really, really admire, Rodrigo, that there's, you don't take no for an answer, as I mentioned in the beginning, and you're the person that you have a lot of energy. So you can charge yourself, you can charge your Kamekino family. I feel like you can actually charge the planet if we run out of power.
I like to think so. But I mean, even, you say that, sometimes I noticed that, I do have, good energy. Well, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I, I don't feel as I was really like one of my 20s, for example. But, I take my multivitamin, you get it.
There you go. And you get the energy right back up.
Yeah, that supplement, like I'm always watching that, I'm always watching, I guess another good golden nugget here, like people let themselves go and things slide in a way that they go from zero to, they go from, or let's say from zero to negative, over time. And instead of adjusting, that, I'm actually walking backwards, let me fix this. I usually like the example of like a golf ball. Like, I don't play golf, but I like this example because think about it. When you hold that club and swing that club, depending on the angle that you hold the club, like if you hold the club like a little more to the, twisted to the right, that ball's gonna go like way off course, and if you have the right angle, that's gonna go right on target.
Trajectory, yeah,
the trajectory of that ball. So I always tell people, like, if like we need to keep watching how that ball's gonna travel, because if that ball goes to the left, you need to try to, obviously you can do that in real life, but you need to try to adjust that ball back on track. Because that's life. Sometimes you go left or you go right, but as long as you're watching, you got to keep the ball in the trajectory of, the target. And a lot of people, they don't do that. And that's how they, become a healthy.
Yeah.
Because they just like if you feel like oh my God, that's the third week that I feel so low energy. Like what's going on, right? And then like, okay, let's adjust. Let's see, what am I doing wrong? Am I eating the right foods? Am I exercising? Am I taking some supplemental vitamins? Then you adjust to kind of where you want to be, or at least as close as you want to be. All right, getting a little overweight. Oh my God, look yourself in the mirror every day and see what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right. So I like that and this is a great point to wrap up our interview, because you talk about something very foundational where if you're mindful, if you check in with yourself, right? You're not going to lose the trajectory, but you have to have an aim. You have to have a goal. You have to have a target where you're going, because if you have no target, you're not going to go anywhere, right? So I really love that charge of positiveness, mindset, wisdom, insight that you just brought to our audience. I think that there's going to be so many people that can learn from all the golden nuggets, as you said, that you just shared with the world. And it's really empowering to just see you follow. So walking the walk and talking the talk, which is amazing. You're one in a kind, Rodrigo. I really appreciate everything you do, creating the amazing Brazilian restaurant. If you guys haven't been to it, please check it out. There's going to be some information in the notes. It's Comeketo in Leominster, Massachusetts. Amazing. You're not going to regret. Meet Rodrigo, shake his hand, reach out to him, say hi, and tell him how wonderful he is. And thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey, this podcast. Hopefully we'll benefit a lot of people by sharing your story.
For sure, that's the goal. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I don't think I said that in the beginning. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for thinking of me. And if we can, this amazing work that you're doing, if you can touch, that's already big. If we can turn the life of somebody, around, because they watch this episode or the next episode or the prior episode, that you're really fulfilling a big gap, a big goal. Because we do need people, with this mindset, with your mindset, with the initiatives like this and with the courage of doing this. Because I know, even though that sometimes you may think that oh, this is not as big as Joe Rogan's podcast, but you filling up a spot that's empty right now. So I want to honor you and congratulate you on this work, because it takes guts, takes courage to do what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rodrigo. I think you have an amazing message, and it will definitely hit home for someone who really needs to hear it at this moment. So, thanks for tuning in to Spotlight on Everyday Heroes. Did you enjoy hearing the inspiring story of our guest? Are you feeling motivated to carve out your own unique path to success? If so, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you want to join the conversation and share your own success story, or if you have a guest recommendation, head on over to our website at www.capitalturners.com and let us know.